These were the opening moves of Ray Robson with the white pieces, playing a Roy Lopez named after J-Lo's uncle, not many people know that, and Hans Niemann with black, playing a Berlin defence, no doubt inspired by his legendary mentor, and wow does this unravel fast for Hans. You're hardly going to believe how bad it goes downhill, and the clock management is something else. It's round 7 of the US Chess Championship, huge drama we've seen there, but we're focusing on chess today. And what do we see here after d3, keeping the pieces on the board? Hans brings out that bishop streaming into the game. We get takes. Why would Ray give the bishops? What a naughty boy. Is he really a grandmaster? Well, he shatters the pawn structure, and now he's the one who controls all the pawn breaks. And after castles, bishop d6, preemptively covering e5, we see D's knight start hopping into the game. Closed position, that's where the ponies thrive. So bishop e6 on the board, keeping an eye on knight c4, and now d4 immediately played. You know, you could go for some brie and cheddar action there with the bishop as another way to play, but this one selected. Knight d7 in response, we suddenly see one of the points of the earlier bishop d6, and after takes, we get this liquidation here, and vamos, let's get that pawn rolling on the board, kicking the bishop, bishop d4 check played, a saving grace for Niemann, because otherwise he was about to get steamrolled. And this is the thing, f5's on the way. Now his long lost cousin Hans Feingold obviously wants f6 here, but what does Niemann do? f5 instead, a more space gaining move, lifting the king's kill, very embarrassing. Ray takes advantage immediately, flinging in the check. g6 blocks the way, and after queen e2, Hans just calmly castles that king over to the weakened side of the board. Now everyone and his dog is surely playing knight f3 here, looks so natural, but Ray plays the interesting rook to d1, hits the open file. Now we see the queen step away, very natural, and e5. This is what Ray was seeing. Sure, I'm leaving the tension here, but I'm about to close the position, favour my knight, block down your bishops, and this is a protected passer. Very tasty. So Niemann goes bishop c5, getting out of dodge a bit. Knight b3 comes anyway. Now he goes bishop e7. What a stunning Christmas tree on the board. It's on the way. Ho ho ho. Excuse me. And now we see bishop e3, completing the development, connecting the rooks. Queen f7 played. Niemann also connects his ones, keeps an eye on this weakened square also. We get knight c5, excellent chess, hitting bishop, hitting b7. How are you going to wiggle out of this one? Well, this is what Niemann's prepared. Attack the queen, it's got to give ground here. And now kick that one back, and away you go with your bishops. Very harmonious. But Ray has prepared this. Very nice response here. Does he backpedal? No. He plays pawn b3. Excellent stuff. Look at the clock difference already. Niemann is an hour ahead. He's like Jan Nepomniachtchi on steroids here in this game in terms of the clock pressure. Now if you take, executing that threat, giving yourself the Irish pawns as these ones are known, well then there's this, yes, winning a pawn, but the rook invades, and who's really battering whom? You know, white actually comes out on top, all these pawns weak. This is a very weakened king, this is a nice attacking force. Imagine the queen joining the party one day. Is really not ideal. White's better. So instead the bishop does retreat. Now we see that one captured, picking up the pair of bishops, very nice, and the queen's just got to sit there like a miserable baby sitting on the head of that pawn, and you've got to watch it in case it advances. So queen e2 from Ray now. He comes onto the light squares, looks at a6. Niemann doesn't allow any sitting on the head of that pawn. a4 in response here makes you look like such a grandmaster to push the old rook's pawn, and now rook fd8, fighting for the only open file. If there's only one on the board, takes on so much more significance, as we see here. h3 played, gives the king some Lufthansa, and now this is so classic of Hans's style. You know, king f8, king f7, good solid moves here. You can even trade a pair of rooks, bring the second one, right? But no, H5 is played, much more ambitious, space gain, weakening G6, who cares, thinks Hans Niemann, I want to play ball here. Now bishop F2, nice micro improvement of that piece, and rook D5, it's a real turning point. Is Niemann about to take over the game? Second rook on the way, preparing to double, then he gets the c-pawn rolling. Well no, Ray's got other ideas. He slams down c4, exploding the board. Now we see this one retreat here, and Niemann's saying, fine, you've weakened some dark squares, can I use that with my bishop? Well, Ray's like, I don't care. Queen e1, walking straight into bishop b4, setting up a battery here also maybe, one day. And now this is a big strategic turning point in the game, because there's a possibility here to play pawn to c5 here. Top move, because you shut down the possibility of white doing it in response. Yes, it's ugly structure for this bishop here, but it sits in a good defensive role. Okay, this is the way it should have gone, but not played. Niemann plays this very natural move, kicks the queen, then retreats. Do you want to draw? Do you want to repeat? No. Ray comes up with the excellent pawn to c5, absolutely stunning. Again, saddling Niemann with a disgusting structure. But what's going on with the time management? He could take here. There are lines to be considered, but relatively quickly he blitzes out this takes on c5, having those ugly pawns now, and queen c2 piles on the pressure here. I was looking at various lines, you know, what do you if takes and rook recaptures and rook b8, going after this one. Well, it does give black counterplay, yes, but white's always sitting a bit better because all of these pawns are weak, not just this one as it is for white, and sometimes the king gets weak. These are the problems that black also has to contend with. So Niemann, instead of going for that, chucks this c4 pawn, given the miss as you can see here, or mistake rather. Now we see captures and king f7 simply played. So he shut down the c file. This is his point. Now after bishop e1, he lands bishop c5, again given the mistake. Taking off the rooks here was a better course of action. This one was actually sitting on the correct defensive square, because now Ray comes up with the excellent switcheroo, bishop h4, coming back onto that vacated diagonal, and this is getting very nasty. The rook sidesteps, looking to invade. So rook d3 played, preparing to stack those ones. Niemann aggressively goes on the counter-attack. He doesn't want to admit any mistakes. Go bishop e7, and he's playing on the clock, right? Ray's got 2 minutes here, but they are gaining 30 seconds a move. So this one was played, invading. Now Ray just calmly doubles the rooks here, and this is the moment where Niemann just gets absolutely steamrolled here, because he takes on c4, queen b3 is played, rook e8, desperate to do some defense, anticipating this invasion, but look at the bar rising. The Stockness monster hates it. The check comes on the board, and once again Niemann blitzing in a terrible way here. He should go king f8, really important line. We're going to see why, because king g8 is played, and now it's much more dangerous when the queen switches to the g file. First bishop f6 was played, queen g8 technically stronger, or g3 rather, but the bishop now converges on that g7 square with the rook. It cuts the queen's connection to the defended pawn here, and there are big problems on the way. Again, king f8 best, not played. Niemann simply walks into his doom here with rook takes on f4, and after queen g3 the trap is shut. Niemann has to resign the game. You're crashing through, and how do you stop it? Queen f7, simply take the queen. If the rook blocks, you take with the pawn. There's absolutely nothing. You're simply crashing through and checkmating. But there were some cool lines where with the king on f8, it buys you one tempo. This doesn't come with check, and you can even give up the queen in some lines, distract a rook, and then bring this one down to the back rank with check. Then the bishop converges, and you start doing some ninja stuff to win back the queen. Still, white was better, but this was the roll of the dice you had to go for. Not the start to the second half of the tournament that Niemann wanted here. Absolute crush with an hour still on the clock. What is going on with that? Hope you enjoyed this one. Check out the video on screen if you don't know the Christopher Yu drama, and I hope to see you again soon. Cheers.